What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. That's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. Scott, welcome back, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, I'm getting really towards the end of Diablo now, and I think I'm just going to start another character and do it all over again.
Gotcha. It's gotcha, Scott. Did you expect that to come around and bite you so hard?
No, not necessarily. I've watched Diablo from the outside all the way up until this one, but it got me now.
Cool. That's awesome. I didn't expect that one. Diablo's not one I've ever been able to get into. Obviously, Corey reviewed it heavily for us as well as yourself. And yeah, you just keep going. I know my brother's got like 150 hours in at this point, and he's just grinding away. And those who are in are like hooked, and they're hooked heavy. I was like, man, I'm over here with all these other games I'm playing right now. I don't have time.
There was a DDoS attack over the weekend that took the servers offline for the most part. I got to play some in Saturday night, but
nice.
Other than that, I got cut off partway through, and that was the end of it. But it seems to be resolved now, just back to regular Blizzard server issues.
Yeah, there you go. Scott, people can join us when we're live over on youtube.com/InsideTheGameOfficial, as well as twitch.tv/TheOfficialITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services, thanks to our friends over at Fired Up Network. And of course, those beautiful TV streaming networks around the globe, just like Roku, Amazon Prime, ESTV, and a whole lot more. Dude, coming up on today's show, Phil Spencer says Elder Scrolls 6 is still 5+ years away. Of course it is. No. Starfield's physical edition may not have a disc after all when it launches this September, and Guerrilla pays tribute to Lance Reddick in Horizon Forbidden West. There's a little catch on that one, though, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. Let's get going, though, Scott. It's Elder Scrolls 6 is still 5+ years away, says Phil Spencer. Tom Henderson, over to Insider Gaming, said this. Xbox boss... It always gets me. The Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, has said that all
he should just be the S-boss. The X-boss, that is.
The X-boss. No, because we need Phil. Don't leave us, Phil.
Yeah, actually.
Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, has said that although there are currently no confirmed platforms for Elder Scrolls 6, the game is still 5+ years away. The news comes from the FTC versus Microsoft trial that will just never end, Scott. This will never see the end of light, unfortunately. Man, just go towards the tunnel. Just see the light and just go. That's all I'm asking for at this point.
Please, the shortest path there.
Oh, man. In which Phil Spencer was asked about console exclusivity in Bethesda's games. Speaking on Elder Scrolls 6, Spencer said, quote, with Elder Scrolls 6, it's so far out, it's hard to understand what platforms it will even be on at this point. It's the same team that's finishing Starfield, which comes out this September. So we're talking about a game that's like 5+ years away. End quote. Scott, the whole FTC thing right now has just been an absolute disaster. I know there's been a couple other things too with the Activision purchase. And one of the people from the FTC said, so you've already purchased them for $70 billion and just handed them the cash. And Phil was like, yo, this is not how this works. I'm just, man.
It's not exactly like that. It's a large addition to the company. It comes in the form of a lot of equity.
Yep. A ton of assets and all this, that, and the other. But the fact that Elder Scrolls 6 is so far away, no, I don't think anybody's shocked except the people over at FTC who don't really seem to understand what this industry is about and how it works. So here we are. When we talk about Elder Scrolls and the future of this, we take a look at Starfield launching just this September. Obviously, yeah, it's exclusive. And I would think moving forward, Scott, wouldn't you do the same thing when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6?
Yeah, that seems to be what my step would be, my strategy. But at the same time, is this going to be a whole different landscape? Is there going to be another challenger? Will Nintendo perhaps rise to the occasion and be able to support something like that? But we're also talking about maybe this is the Xbox Series 2X by then. And maybe that's where there's some discrepancy. You can't show all of your cards, surely.
No, not at all. As PlayStation stated that if they are purchased by Activision Blizzard, or by Microsoft, that Activision is purchased, that they will not be sharing any PlayStation 6 details with them for Call of Duty. But that's a whole other topic we covered last week. But either way, Spencer's comments mean that Elder Scrolls 6 will not release until at least 2028, which is around the same time the PlayStation 6, via the FTC versus Microsoft's hearing, and presumably next generation Xbox will launch. Scott, we're not getting it this console generation. Sounds like we're going to be waiting some time for sure. But who is really that surprised?
No, these games are massive. And although they're trying to outdo themselves with Starfield, I'm
Yeah.
sure that Elder Scrolls, and it's hard not to say Elden Scrolls, it's going to require a lot of work. And how are you going to push that forward from Skyrim? There's a big bar they set themselves here. So I would
Yep.
expect a long, long development process. But we had already had a tease of this in 2018 where it
Yeah.
was mentioned, hey, don't worry, there will still be Elder Scrolls.
So it came in the way of here's what's coming for the next Xbox, right? And that's when we saw Fable. We saw the likes of Perfect Dark. We saw like there's a list of them, and it was just a cinematic teaser showcasing that, yeah, you know what, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming, not in development, but it is coming. Of course, we know what Skyrim right now is basically everywhere, and this is kind of where you're leading up to the next with Elder Scrolls 6. Is this Skyrim 2 we're gonna get?
Well, each one is based on a different location, so I don't think we'll even be on the province of Skyrim this time,
Fair enough.
which would, by definition, should make it something else. But I'm wondering, where are we going to go next? Has ESO kind of given that away? I haven't been on ESO in forever, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, for those who aren't aware, that's Elder Scrolls Online, which is just a juggernaut of content that will keep you going.
Yeah.
You won't need another game. If you get into this one, you don't need another game, but you need to play Starfield
No.
when it comes out this September, because that's what I can't wait. Let's get into it. The Starfield Physical Edition may not contain a disc. Scott, this blew up over the weekend. It was one of those topics that here we go, right? This is like, I get it.
Bigger. It could be a bigger issue than frames per second, I think.
Well, yeah, this is Logan Moore over at comicbook.com. It looks like the physical edition of Starfield that will release later this year might not include a disc for Xbox Series X, as digital consoles are hardware have started to become more prevalent. Some publishers have actually started to change how they operate when it comes to a standard disc-based release. This was most recently seen this year with Alan Wake 2, when publisher Epic Games revealed that the game would only be available to purchase on digital marketplaces. Well, Scott, here we go. Over the weekend, a tweet came up was said this, where Zoom, over on Twitter, asked Bethesda, hey, Bethesda support, will the physical standard edition of Starfield for Series X include a disc? Bethesda support stated, hello, all physical editions include a code for the chosen platform. There are no physical discs. Scott. And then after that, dude, the tweet was deleted. So just taking reference to this, right? It's like, maybe we shouldn't have said that. Because right now, if you take a look at the lineup and the history with Xbox, a lot of things that they've stated is starting to kind of rewind and go, nope, we're not doing this now. And nope, we're not doing that now. And nope, we're not doing this. And then, you know, things kind of have been hitting the fan in one way or another lately that just aren't going well for Xbox. And I don't think this one bodes well for fans who are that collector, right? They want to get the physical edition. But if you're like our good friend Brad over at Northern Nerdcast, who told me this morning that his Amazon package for Final Fantasy 16 is just gone, maybe you should just start getting into the new age, Brad, and start downloading games like the rest of us, and then you could have been playing by now. But either way,
I'm a holdout as well if I can manage it. But due to the nature of what we do, digital is kind of forced on you. That's okay with me. But when it comes to Starfield or Bethesda titles in general, when there's something important to me, I like to have that physical. And I said this on Twitter and under several posts. A physical release is not a code. That doesn't count. That's not physical release. That's just, you may as well have sent me a book, and which would be cool, but it's not the game in physical form.
No, there's something about getting the disc versus just receiving a code. I've received packages before where it's like the limited edition steel case, but in it isn't the disc. It's just a code to download the game. I'm like, well, I clearly don't need this anymore, do I? What I do need is the statues that go behind me instead. That's what I want, not so much the physical disc. Dude, I could only imagine the wall I would have of shelving to hold all of my games if they were all physical. I just couldn't do it. So I was glad to transfer over to digital only.
My 360 rack is over there closed up, actually. I have
Yeah.
a very large amount of physical game media.
I had PS2, PS3 was strong, like very strong. That was the way to get those games. PS4 starts coming around, going, "Hey, you can download these." I'm like, "I'm in." Like it didn't take long for me to go at the first rate. A lot of people are like, this isn't cool. Well, this will never happen." And like, no, this is the way we gotta go. This is here. I don't want to find somewhere on my shelf. I want to put the collector's edition, the figurine, behind me instead, which is always cool. That's a highlight for me, is collecting the collector's edition. I want that new Spider-Man one, dude. The Venom is 16 inches tall. That thing's gonna be massive. It's gonna be very cool.
I did see there was some sort of follow-up to this. This support tweet had been deleted, and I saw another regional tweet that was being referenced. I think it was quite aged, however. But it states there are physical discs. However, the collector's edition with the statuette, the code is supposed to be printed on that statue. Okay, I think that's a pretty interesting alternative, but
yeah.
it's unclear at this point, at least. I hope Bethesda will respond in an official capacity. It's unclear exactly what the result of this is.
It makes
a thought occurs to me.
Yeah.
We do have digital only consoles, correct? There's a
Absolutely.
PlayStation 5 that is digital only,
Yep.
and the Series S, I believe, is digital only. Of course, PlayStation is out of the conversation with this game in particular.
Yes.
But can you imagine getting a digital only copy and then, grandma brings you the disc? That hurts.
Yeah, no, it is. The fact that the tweet was deleted is where I kind of get a little suspicious as to what's going on. I feel right now over at Xbox and Bethesda and certain other studios that the left hand's not exactly talking to the right hand and getting the communication out there that's transparent and straightforward for the consumers, for us to go, okay, this is what we're getting on day one, right? That's the biggest thing. Get out in front of it. We did see them come up already and say, hey, this is coming out at 4K, 30 frames per second. That is it. Done. End of discussion kind of thing. I'm like, whoa. A lot of people went, are you serious? But then you and I talked about, nobody complained about Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like 30 frames per second, and it runs great, and it feels good, and it just works the way we want to. And Bethesda, Todd Howard stated over on, I believe it was on the Kind of Funny. Was it Kind of Funny or just in a direct? No, I think it was Kind of Funny.
I think it was Kind of Funny, yeah.
Yeah, stated that the team focused on 30 frames so that they could lock in and not have to worry about the unexpected, and make sure that everything is polished at a 4K resolution, and that when we do land on these planets, that we are wowed by the surroundings, right? And just so many other things that just takes one little less hiccup off their plate to worry about, because as we all know, Bethesda is known for a lot of jank and a lot of other bugs and things. Hopefully this allows us not to have to worry about those experiences. Dude, I'm down for 30 frames.
Oh, 30 frames is definitely an okay trade-off when it comes to the engine and everything. Surrounding Starfield, everything has weight, everything has physics. It's all working together. This is something new, something exciting. And 30 frames will not hold me back.
No, me either. But might hold some people back is the fact that there is no physical disc. Again, take it with a grain of salt right now. No confirmed answers, as the tweet has been quickly deleted. So we'll just kind of we'll keep everybody posted on how that kind of pans out. But dude, I want to give a shout out to Guerrilla. Thank you, Guerrilla. I think Guerrilla is an awesome studio, and what they've done here for Lance Reddick is done a memorial for Horizon Forbidden West. You can actually go and see him. Here's the catch: not see him. You can see a plaque, a memorial for him. This time live and over VGC. Guerrilla Games has created a Lance Reddick memorial in Horizon Forbidden West. Kinda. And I'll get to that in a second as to why I say kinda. The actor who played the role of Silence in the Horizon series passed away in his home in Los Angeles in March at the age of 60. Dude, way too young to see that one go. That one hurts. I got goosebumps already. It sucks. I thought he's a fantastic actor, and what he brought to Horizon just elevated that whole franchise to another level. Well, it wasn't mentioned in the patch notes for Horizon's latest update. Guerrilla has confirmed the addition of an in-game tribute to Reddick on Friday. Quote, in honor of Lance Reddick, we created a memorial to commemorate the profound impact he has had on all of us. Thank you, Lance, for everything you have brought to the rule of silence, your gravitas, energy, wisdom, and more. An incomparable talent and friend. We miss you terribly. Here's the thing, Scott. This is where the catch comes, because the memorial is actually in the Burning Shores DLC. If you don't have the DLC, you're not going to see this. Which for me, I was like, This close, dude. Like, they almost nailed it. I thought, yeah, they just put it in the wrong part of the game, because when you have the ability if you have never played Horizon Forbidden West, first of all, go play it. It's a fantastic game. And then the DLC Burning Shores, Steve and I actually gave it a 10. Spoilers. We loved it. We thought it was fantastic. And it played off and kind of grew up into other circumstances where we actually get into a Sunwing and we were diving under the water with them. Man, it was so
That's
good.
the part that blew my mind when I saw footage of.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic, right? It's one of those moments like, that's the wow factor I've been looking for. So good. But then the only way to see Lance's memorial is actually in the Burning Shores. You do have the opportunity when you finish Burning Shores to go back into the rest of Forbidden West. Like, another portion, when you zoom out the map, another portion of the map is Burning Shores. But you have the ability to go back into Forbidden West. They should have put it over there just so that everybody could see it. Not everybody is going to get the Burning Shores DLC, Scott.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
would do
unfortunate
well
part.
by yourself to get it, but
Yes.
if you don't have it, that is a bit strange. A very slight detail there, but a good maneuver overall. I really respect the messaging here.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm glad to see that. I like that they pay tribute. I think it's well deserved. And yeah, if you haven't had a chance, just go play it to see your Lance's memorial, just for that alone. So now I have to download it again because I've already beat it and moved on, but I'm gonna go download it and check it out. It's one of those.
Well, it's a good excuse if you need one to jump back in.
Yeah, no, man, it was such a good game. Burning Shores is fantastic too. What a DLC pack. Scott, I want to get an interesting little topic coming up next. Thanks to Ted Lynchfield over PC Gamer. Just like nobody asked for, YouTube is reportedly testing in-app and in-site gaming. Rest in peace, Stadia. Like, you were part of that Google YouTube whole transition, and now we're getting back. What is going on here, Scott?
Yeah, the company, the parent company of YouTube is Google, I believe. So
Yep.
It's strange. Is this a second attempt?
Makes me a little nervous. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, Google is reportedly internally testing games to be added to the YouTube app and website. The Wall Street Journal cites an internal email discussing the endeavor as proof. Wow. Why? What? This is where I get really confused, because they had Stadia. Stadia, if you were unaware, was their streaming gaming platform, which allowed people to get into video games through an app and just beam it to the TV. Dude, it worked. You and I both had it. We both enjoyed it. Thought it was great. But here they are now going for Google, trying to get back into gaming. You just shut down. They shut down Stadia 2 years ago, Scott. Is it now? Was it now?
Oh, has it been that long?
I don't know, man. Time's a never-ending circle. I have no idea.
It was a little blip on the timeline.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But the Wall Street Journal mentions multiple games being available for testing by Google, YouTube's parent company, employees, but only describes one in detail. Quote, stack bounce, end quote. It sounds like brick breaker, but I guess with a vertical orient target instead of horizontal. Stack bounce and the playables names sound like more of an arcadey casual affair. Scott, this is where they're focusing towards more like the mobile market?
That could be very likely, yeah. And the idea of rebranding into something that's a little more
Mainstream?
that's right. A little bit more mainstream, easy to jump on. Instead of getting Stadia and you order the controller, or you order the Chromecast, I believe it's called.
Yeah. Well, oh man.
Which I still have, actually. It's the most strongest, beefiest Chromecast you can get.
Yeah, I love it. Actually, I still beam my YouTube through that to my TV. Like, it's just, I'll never let it go now that I have it. It was just, but what a weird move. Is this their battle up against Netflix? Is that what they're looking to do? Because, hey, we see Netflix is getting into gaming. Netflix recently, too, have started pulling in the likes of Joseph Staten from 343 Industries, formerly 343 Industries, working on Halo, brought him in, and multiple other major name talents to work on a AAA title, Scott. Like, Netflix has gone from, hey, we're building a mobile division over here, which started off really well. They got Oxenfree 2 coming and a bunch of other games. And then all of a sudden now we're like, hey, we're going to step it over here at Netflix and go into the AAA space and start taking talent away from Xbox and other studios. And now we're getting into YouTube, where they had a platform, Scott. They had opportunities and they squandered it. And now we're getting back into, like, the questions arise so quickly over at Google and YouTube and what's happening here that I'm kind of nervous. I don't need another Stadia.
Yeah, that's true. When it turns out none of us needed it the first time around, unfortunately.
That's too
It
bad
was
because
a cool technology, though. Maybe this is something. Do you expect to see any sort of AAA or double
no,
A,
no.
any sort of specific platform exclusives? I can't think of it because we
So
only had Guilt and Hello Engineer on Stadia. I can't see much.
yeah, I don't think we'll get much in the way of a controller based particular game. I think what they want to do is, hey, while you're on YouTube, on your phone, you can also play a game here too while you're here and tap in and sell and buy a game from us to play. Something simple, something just jump in for 5 minutes and then bounce out and go back to another YouTube video. But if you're on YouTube watching YouTube, I'm not typically looking to go play a game too. Right?
No,
So,
no, not exactly.
I don't know. Again, one of those things we'll
Similar
keep an
feeling
eye
with
on.
Netflix.
Yep. Exactly. I don't go to Netflix to play games. Maybe. I'm really curious to see where Joseph's game lands. Right? Was Netflix going to partner with Xbox? Going to partner with PlayStation? Nintendo? Maybe? I don't know.
Unlikely there.
I'm just saying. Who knows? But Scott, let's talk about Multiverses has now gone completely offline as it prepares for a 2024 relaunch. I don't know, man.
Oh,
I think they're
yeah.
too little too late now. But we'll get into Chris Scullion's article over at VGC. Multiverse's online service has now been completely shut down as Warner Brothers has and developer Play First Games prepare to relaunch it next year. The studio had announced in March that the game was set to be taken offline, and be removed from all digital storefronts in April. Players will still be able to play online until Sunday when the servers were finally taken offline in preparation for the game's full launch early next year. This is such a weird maneuver, Scott. Players who now boot up the game will be met with a message which reads, quote, "Thank you for your support throughout our open beta. The feedback and inspiration has been amazing. On June 25th, we'll be closing the Multiverse's open beta as we prepare for our launch in early 2024. Scott, here's the thing. If this would have been met with well reception from the gamers still, right? When it first launched, dude, it hit 20 million in like days.
It blew up. Yeah.
It did, right? It had an install base. It had the player base. What it didn't have was the long roadmap ahead of it because it dried up quickly, and so did its player base.
Yeah, it certainly didn't last very long. I'm wondering if there was a shop though. Was there a paid shop with cosmetics and stuff? What happens if you put your money into that in the form of an open beta? I don't think it should have been there. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah. It's weird that they called it an open beta. Open beta normally isn't lasting for years. Fortnite,
yeah,
open beta, and it's still going, right?
That's actually a pretty good counterpoint right there. Yeah,
like that juggernaut is unstoppable. Fortnite just keeps going. And then it's still classified, I believe, as an open beta. I don't think they've ever reached the 1.0 status yet. I'll have to check on that, but I'm pretty certain that's where it is. So when you talk about open beta, most betas only run for like a course of a week or a weekend, and the studio then gets their feedback and then goes back to work on the game. Here, this has been out for like a year, and then all of a sudden, player base dropped off. We're like, okay, now we're taking off offline.
Yeah,
this is weird.
It was all of a sudden, which was strange because normally every beta that I've seen, here's the start date, here's the end date. I don't believe there was a stated end date.
No.
Recently.
Exactly. Yeah. It recently is because the player dips below 1,000 for the first time in 2023, making it, so the player, marking a drop in daily peak player count of 99.4% in less than 7 months. That's the issue, Scott. If this player count wouldn't have dropped 99%, this game would still be running right now. Here we are, because it's such a dip, we're like, Warner Brothers, we're going to take it offline. And we're going to work on it some more and relaunch it next year. It won't have the same impact coming out next year, though, Scott. That's the biggest thing.
No. What are you going to work on in the meantime to kind of reintroduce it? Make it exciting for those who have been in there and come back. I can't really see too much difference happening.
No.
Even if you put a huge roster of characters on, there were other issues on top of that. It really wasn't just character-based.
No, absolutely. There's so much to tell, but we'll see when they relaunch next year. But until then, Scott, we'll be back once again tomorrow. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.